Hey guys, we're here today going over our road to ranked for Series 12. We're currently restarting the season and back at Pokeball 4. So if you guys enjoyed, leave a like below and subscribe for more. And with that said, let's get into this. Make sure, of course, you watch to the end because we do have a rental code hidden somewhere in this video for the team. I'm going to make sure that Randy knows to keep this up at least through the month of March. So Randy, if you're watching this, I know you are. You're one of my recurring viewers who watches through all these. Make sure you leave the rental code up until the end of March. I'll try and remind you. In terms of what I want to lead here, I think there's a couple leads that could be pretty terrifying. For one, Regieleki as a general could be pretty terrifying. The other one could be specifically Solgaleo plus a Tornadus. It's actually a really terrifying lead for this team because I can't really go for anything like, for example, Incineroar with Intimidate for that because Tornadus could always just go for Tailwind or Brutal Swing and pop Weakness Policy. Either route would be really good. I think what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and lead off with Urshifu for sure. I like Urshifu's matchup a ton against this team. And I think the other one I'm going to lead off with is Thundurus, because Thundurus at least should be able to put some actual pressure on Tornadus, albeit I won't necessarily be able to really... Well, actually, it depends. If that Solgaleo is like Rockfall, it could be kind of scary. But otherwise, I think I'm actually in a good position going for this. In terms of my other Pokemon, I think I definitely don't want to bring Ice Rider to this game, actually. Solgaleo is just such a nuisance. I'm going to go with Kyogre and Incineroar, I think, as the last slots. Kyogre and Incineroar does give me a few options, of course. For example, Incineroar is really good against stuff like... Well, actually, I don't know why I brought Incineroar, I'm going to be honest. But I guess, to be fair, it's a good offensive response to the Solgaleo. I guess it's not going to work for Intimidate, but it is still good offensively. And I can also go for stuff like Fake Out and Torn. So it's not entirely useless, but don't know why I brought it over Mimikyu, actually, in hindsight. Not a huge deal. They actually lead off with Bisharp Thundurus. I'm not sure why they let off with the score, to be honest. But I'll definitely take this because my Thundurus is really good against theirs as long as they're not physical. Honestly, this might be a max game for Shifu or Thundurus. I'm not sure which, but it probably will be one of them. Regardless, so I'm going to go for a close combat on the Bisharp, and I'm going to go for... Actually, I think I'm going to max the Thundurus, and I'm going to go for max Lightning on their Thundurus, mostly just for more damage overall. I can't Terrain boost myself because we're a flying type, but it should still be some really good damage overall nonetheless. So let's see. So they're definitely going to Dynamax as well. I think that has to be their Thundurus too, because this is a speed tie, and unless there's Scarf Bisharp, which Scarf wouldn't pop anyway. Yeah, it looks like it's definitely Thundurus. Okay, that's fine. I don't mind this. Their Thundurus versus mine at this point. They're special at the very least. We do have AV, so that should help a lot, because that actually does work through max. Looking through calcs, if these are both Dynamaxed, they shouldn't do a ton of damage to us, actually. If they're special, it's like a guaranteed 3 KO. In fact, actually, it's a guaranteed 4 KO if they're not like a boosting item. So I'm actually pretty content with this. They could go for Max Darkness, to be fair, to try and drop Spidef, but they don't know where Assault Vest, so I feel like they're probably going for Lightning, because the stab. Sucker Punch goes off. They're dual targeting, which is kind of interesting. I definitely get the play, but still. We won the speed tie, actually, which is pretty good. And yeah, we do just under half. So it's pretty standard. This means it's probably just a timid Thundurus. So I'm pretty content with this. They're going to go for Airstream, trying to boost the speed. That makes a lot of sense, to be fair. Sadly, though, for them, we are Sash Urshifu, so their Bisharp is going to take a ton of damage from this. Okay, so yeah, we see the close combat go off. Don't be Sash, don't be Sash, don't be Sash. They're not Sash. Okay, that's actually really good. Because now this turn, what that opens up for me is a Sucker Punch on their Thundurus. Which, by going for Sucker Punch on their Thundurus, that means that obviously I can attack before they go for, let's say, another Airstream, boost their speed, and then kill my Urshifu without any attack. Then I can pick this off guaranteed, actually. So their Thundurus actually should be guaranteed taken out this turn. Their lucky best part is while it has terrain, it should not be able to take me out. Because again, there should be no way in hell this actually would take me out. Okay, yeah, so pulling up a calc, they would basically need to dual target into my Thundurus this turn to actually take me out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for a Sucker Punch here on the Thundurus, and I'm going to go for a Max Lightning on the Thundurus, just to try and take that out. I feel like that the Thundurus is a little bit more threatening than Lucky, albeit both are obviously nightmares. I'd rather just take out the Thundurus because that is their speed control at this point. Also, outside of Max, that is still a very terrifying Pokemon to handle, considering their Thundurus does actually put up an offensive presence. They're going to go for Electro Web, which does not take us out. Okay, that's really good for us. Because while we do lose Thundurus, and we borderline lose... we borderline lose Thundurus, and we do definitively lose Urshifu. Their Thundurus is also gone, which I can work with this. Their lucky is Life Orb, which is actually really good information as well. So their Thundurus is gone, which is actually really good for us. As I said, that's their speed control gone. That's their general annoyance gone. They were definitely not... They definitely weren't AV, because they took way too much damage from that. I'm going to Incineroar here and go for Fake Out on the Lucky, because no matter what else comes in here, everything else should be slower than my Thundurus. Palkia, perfect, that's fine. This would have to be a Scarf Palkia, actually, so I'm pretty content with this. So we've brought them down to their last two Pokemon. That means no Solgaleo and no Tornadus, which actually, it just hit me. Yeah, we've taken out 2 of their Pokemon, actually, which is really good for us. So I'm going to go for Fake Out on the Regieleki slot. I'm fine with the Palkia going for an attack, truthfully. Because that way then I can at least get some good damage off on the Palkia. And what I think I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go for Max Lightning. I'm going to go for Max Airstream. Because I don't do much more with Wild Charge versus... actually, I think I do the same amount with Wild Charge versus Airstream, considering I don't get the terrain boost. So with this in mind, we're also +2 attack. Which is like... Oh, you know what? We're minus speed. Oh, okay. So we do actually... yeah, we lose our Thundurus. A little bit unfortunate, but it's not a huge concern. So in terms of what that Palkia could do, that Palkia is actually super annoying, I'm not gonna lie. Palkia takes away a lot of our actual options here. For one... to be fair, I still stand by the Electri play because it didn't really matter that Electri was going to go for Electric Rod this turn anyway, so I was dead regardless. I'm going to go for a Darkest Lariat on the Palkia just for damage, truthfully. Actually, I'm going to go for it on the Regieleki. In the off chance that they maybe dual target me, I think I kind of need to just play off of it anyway. I don't think I can win. I don't have a way to definitively break the Palkia really well. Rising Voltage. Okay, yeah. I kind of wish I protect here, but to be fair, depending on what the Palkia clicks, I don't know if it would have mattered anyway. I think at best I could just bring inside the diff. If it clicks a Dragon move, yeah, okay, so they clicked Hydro Pump. They clearly were targeting Incineroar anyway. So I didn't really have it out there, I guess, at that point. So GG to my opponent, very GG. At this point, you know, obviously it's day 1 for the ladder. So we're going to be fighting a bit tougher games, especially starting off in a not mid-tier. So it's just something that we kind of need to adjust to because obviously other people did relegate as well. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I've seen this before. I actually think I saw Randy at least fight this, if not play this. At one point, I genuinely can't remember, to be honest. I know he played a very similar team with Duskmane, if I remember correctly. But I definitely at least know enough about what I should be doing in this matchup. So I'm a little bit more relieved for that, thankfully. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to lead off with Incineroar plus Urshifu. That way then, if Torn does lead, I can go for Fake Out on that. I think that was probably what I should have done last time, to be fair. But it is what it is. Not a big deal. In terms of backups, I'm definitely bringing Thundurus. This is a really good Kyogre check, as long as I don't hard switch in. And I think I'm going to bring... Kyogre. Wait, no, definitely not Kyogre. I'm going to bring Calyrex, because I think I have enough that can handle Kyogre, and maybe open up Calyrex. I don't really like my Kyogre matchup, though, between the Zapdos and the Among Us. I think that ultimately this would be kind of a choke, bring Kyogre, personally. But we'll see what happens. Good luck and fun to my opponent. Okay, so obviously, as you guys saw on screen, or I think I might have actually just caught right there, but the point is, though, is that Solgaleo didn't take Intimidate because of Full Metal Body, so it's not a big deal. But I think my plan is definitely Fake Out on the Zapdos. Actually, the Zapdos could still go for Airstream. That's actually kind of an issue with Zapdos specifically. What I think I'm going to do, though, I'm going to go for Parting Shot on the Zapdos, and I think I'm going to go for a Wicked Blow on the Solgaleo, because Wicked Blow should still definitely do a ton of damage to this. To be fair, I'm not actually sure if they're going to max Zapdos or Solgaleo. I think it might be Solgaleo, but I really can't. It's one of those turns I can't really mess around with, because if I call it wrong, it really puts me back. So I kind of need to take the safest approach possible, which I think this is it, personally. So by Parting Shotting Zapdos, should still hopefully help a lot, at least with any sort of damage that Zapdos might do through things like Discharge, Heat Wave. And by going for Wicked Blow, I can go for Sucker next turn, so it's not a big deal. They're going for Hurricane and we had Dodge. Okay, that's actually super good for us. They're definitely weakness policy, but I don't entirely mind this because Zapdos didn't go for a Tailwind this turn. So because of that, what I can actually do next turn is I can potentially go into my Thundurus, and I think I'm going to max that. They're going to go for Quake, and yeah, it's not going to break my... It's not going to break my Sash, which is great for us, actually. Because now, basically, we're in a perfect position here. Because since I don't even need to actually overpredict at this point or anything, losing Incineroar isn't a big deal. With the turns that they took, I think it's a worthwhile trade, personally. I'm going to bring in Calyrex here. Okay, so with this in mind, I think I am going to double here into Thundurus on this turn. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to Wicked Blow on the Solgaleo. This is mostly to try and bait an attack on the Solgaleo, on the Calyrex specifically. And maybe they'll recognize that is a bit of a threat. And with that in mind, it just preserves Urshifu's Sash as long as possible. Because Thundurus should chew any sort of attack from Solgaleo. So this was also to help mostly in case Solgaleo went for a Tailwind here. Because if it went for a Tailwind here specific, well, if Zapdos went for a Tailwind, I should say. That way then we can guarantee take out the Solgaleo. It is no longer an issue on our team. And that opens up a lot for our endgame with Calyrex, which in my opinion is super valuable. We know this is the life of Zapdos as well at this point, though to be fair, that should have been kind of obvious, considering we saw Weakness Policy pop on the Solgaleo, and we saw the Hurricane at least from Zapdos. Okay, so Incineroar popped our Defiant, which is actually also really amazing. I think I'm going to commit to the Thundurus sweep at this point, because at this, with everything in mind left over, the last mon is probably Kyogre. It's either Kyogre or Among Us. I'm not sure which. But in either scenario, I think I just go for a Max Lightning on Zapdos before it gets a Tailwind up for potentially Kyogre. I'm going to go for a Close Combat here on the Incineroar, just in the off chance that it fakes out the Thundurus. because I feel like I could see a scenario where they maybe do fake out the Thundurus. To be fair though, I feel like that it's equally as likely that the Urshifu could get Thunder out of fake out, which I don't really mind in either case, because the point being more so is just to try and get a hit on the Thundurus, on the Incineroar to punish it, should they maybe attack Thundurus instead. So they're going to fake out my Thundurus, which is great, because now Zapdos should get railed by Max Lightning. I can't see where all this lives. It's +2, well, it's +1 actually. Yeah, okay, so Zapdos is gone. With that in mind, it just Incineroar and whatever last mon is left. And no matter what, my Thundurus should be able to handle that, because if Among Us, I go for Fly. If it's Kyogre, I go for Wild Charge. Well, for Lightning, I should say. It's Airstream and Lightning specifically. And for Tornadus, again, I just go for Lightning. So we do about half to Incineroar, which is great. This can't outpace me at all. The only way that they could really at all stop me from just winning with my next 2 attacks would be if the Tornadus is specifically the next Pokemon. Because what Tornadus would do is, with Tornadus, they can go for Tailwind. But even still, I don't think they have an out there. It's more so just stopping me from winning with these 2 specifically. So yeah, Kyogre's the last one. I'm easily just going to go for Max Lightning Kyogre, and then I'm going to go for a Close Combat Incineroar. And that should guarantee me the win. I can't see a world where that doesn't guarantee me the win here, because we're +1. Again, I get Terrain isn't going to matter, but we should still be pretty fine here. Hopefully, we pick up the win here. The worst they could do is stall me out a bit with Protect, which I don't entirely mind. It's really pointless for them at this point. So we're going to see Max Lightning go off, and that Kyogre is demolished. And then Incineroar, we saw it, we did a ton of damage with Close Combat. At worst, maybe it lives on a sliver, but it can't really threaten me with a dual target, because any dual target this could go for would not KO with my Pokemon. Yep, and even still we pick it off. Alright, sweet. So we are 1-1 for the day. I'll take that. Again, I'm not sure if I'll show the first, well, how much I'll show of each game, as established through prior recordings, but we are 1-1 for the day. Okay, so we're currently on a 3-game win streak. I will say, the third game, that win streak, the second one was a pretty just unusable game, but the third one, I really, really wish I commentated it, because I just stopped commentating after a really bad turn 1, and I somehow came back. Couldn't tell you how I came back. It was such a good game. It was the best game of the set so far, by a good amount, and I just didn't commentate it. I feel like I failed so hard. Okay. This is an interesting team, actually, for sure. I know what a lot of this stuff does, thankfully. So what do I want to do? I want to lead off with, I think I definitely, I can't really lead off with Mimikyu, because I learned that mistake from the first Lunala team I fought today. I'm definitely leading off with Urshifu for sure. I kind of want to lead off with Urshifu Mimikyu, weirdly enough. Yeah, I'm going to lead off with Urshifu Mimikyu. I'm going to bring Kyogre in the back for sure. And then I think I'm going to bring Calyrex in the back, because Calyrex is really good here. I just need to position it well. That is definitely my Dynamax Pokemon in this game, 100%. No contest. That is my Dynamax option. So for Regieleki, Blacephalon is the lead here. This is actually very interesting. With this in mind, I think I definitely do just go for the Trick Room or Mimikyu, because unless they dual target me, which if they do dual target me, that's a whole other issue for them, because I can actually just go for a Wicked Blow here. And I'm going to go for Wicked Blow and Trick Room. And something should be threatened here to a severe degree. I think it's in their best interest to dual target Mimikyu, because no matter what, Urshifu is going to run away with a kill here, or at least a kill next turn here, because it's not like they can protect on me. Between the Wicked Blow and the Sucker Punch, I should always be taking out the Blacephalon. So it seems like they are definitely trying to go for that, if nothing else. I kind of wish I could Sucker Punch, but I still feel like this was in my best interest here. They're breaking my disguise. They would have to be going for the Mimikyu at this point and really trying to threaten that slot specifically. So I'm going to bank on the fact that they're probably a Sash set. So they're definitely going to go for Mimikyu. Okay. That's fine. We lose Mimikyu for sure, but I'm fine with that because I think that they trade Blacephalon too. So I'm not against that. Our Sash is definitely going through a lot at the very least at this point, but it's fine because Blacephalon should be taken out. Even if I need to Sucker Punch it next turn. Yep. So I'm going to have to Sucker Punch it next turn, but that's totally fine actually. I don't mind this at all because that means that Blacephalon is guaranteed taken out. They would basically have to go for, they would 100% have to go for Protect here to invalidate my Sucker. But at the very least, if they're going to do that, it's a neutral turn at that point. And I get to Trick Room up regardless at that point. So that's really what I'm going for, is just to guarantee the Trick Room goes off. Whether I need to force the kill with Urshifu, or I need to force the neutral turn, I will go for that. So we're going to go for a Sucker Punch here into Trick Room. And then I'm going to just start trying to go for Dynamax at this point. But that Blacephalon is basically a non-issue. Guaranteed this turn, something happens to make it a non-issue. So I might wait on the max a little bit, because truthfully, nothing here would actually really pressure my max, and I want to save it a little bit. Because I think I can totally make this work for a max to end game. I just need to wait on that. I need to make sure that I know what at least one of the last two Pokemon is, because it will determine how I play this. But I'm curious what they're actually going to go for here. I feel like they definitely never switch. They have no reason to, in my opinion. So Sucker Punch does go off. Blacephalon is gone, just like predicted. Like he's probably going to go for a Raw Thunderbolt, if I had to guess. Or maybe Electro Web too, to be fair. Electro Web is actually still a pretty good play. They're going to go for Thunder Wave, actually, on the Calyrex. That's an interesting... Actually, I don't think I've actually seen a Lucky run Thunder Wave, but it's a good play for sure. Oh, it sucks. They knew what they were going for, to be fair, but, like, it sucks for us. Good play by them, though, 100%, because that obviously hurts Calyrex a lot. It stops them from getting... It stops us from getting a Trick Room. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to go for a Sucker Punch in the Lunala, just in case they try and go for a Moongeist Beam. And I'm going to go for a Trick Room, because if they do not go... If they don't go for a Moongeist Beam here, that's fine, because, again... I'm getting up my Trick Room if nothing else. So that's really what I'm trying to go for at this point. And I don't mind them going for a Max Guard, Protect, whatever they call it. Because no matter what, I'm either getting a neutral turn up, or I'm getting up, at the very least, a good amount of damage in Lunala, at least punishing it for trying to target my Calyrex. So I'll definitely take that. I think that ultimately, though, if I could pop the Trick Room here, that's amazing for us. Because even if we, let's say, account for the paralysis turns on the Calyrex, I still do have guaranteed... We guarantee do have the minus speed Urshifu, which it seems like obviously we're not going to have, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. At this point, they're going to go for Meteor Beam. Ooh, so it's not Stab at the very least, so I'm actually pretty fine with this. So they're guaranteed Meteor Beam. It's definitely Power, which fine with that too. So I don't know if this actually kills. I feel like it does, but I'm not 100% sure. We actually don't die to that. So as long as I don't get parried here, we're pretty set. I feel like we're going to pop a weakness policy here. Don't get parried. Yes, okay. So, what do I want to do this turn? I feel like it's still in my best interest to go for a Wide Guard. Not to go for a Wide Guard, to go for a Dynamax, but I think I'm going to go for the Max and the Kyogre instead. And I'm going to go for a Max Pump on, well, a Max Geyser on the Regieleki. I feel like that's the bigger threat to me personally, specifically to my Kyogre. And then I'm going to go for Glacial Lance, because that way then I count for Wide Guard, as well as stuff like Para, which I think Aleki is a bit more susceptible to. That would then still spread. If they don't go for Wide Guard, I break Aleki's Sash as long as I hit. So in case it is a Sash set, which we don't know if it is, to be fair, but I will say with Thunder Wave, that leads me to believe it is a Sash set. So I feel like this covers the most round of predictions, or the most diverse set of turns that could happen this way. And if I pull it off, then that leads them with only one Pokemon left, which is amazing for me, because Kyogre should be able to take out any one Pokemon left at this point. Even a Max Venusaur, let's say. We do a Kyogre plus a Lecky, so I feel like, again, I can handle that no matter what. Especially since they don't really have anything like a terrain boost, let's say, boosting them. So I feel pretty set on that. So Glacial Lances go off, and they didn't go for a Wide Guard, which is amazing. To be fair, there's no guarantee that Lunala had it, but it was something to be worried about, of course. With this in mind, we actually killed both Pokemon, which is, I'll be honest, I did not expect that, but thinking out loud, I forgot about the weakness policy. So it's really amazing for us, though. Nothing they have under Pace is a Lucky, so they would basically have to have Hitmontop here to really stop this. And even then, Hitmontop only stops the Calyrex turn, which means I still just Oko. So they're going to go with Groudon. Groudon was obviously, you know, the Mon that was left, which I'm fine with this. Groudon going for Max here is really fine by me. They kind of have to Max Groudon just for any sort of competition here, and I use that very loosely. But basically, they need to bank off of a full para here. So I'm going to go for a Geyser here, and then I'm going to go for Glacial Lance. We should maul this as long as we hit a move. I can't see a turn that we don't... Yeah, so they're going to go for Dynamax. So that's perfectly fine. Worst comes to worst they could do is like go for a Max Guard. But even still, a Max Guard, it's really just stalling through a Trick Room. They need to hit a few of them to really have it matter. And in fact, they would need to hit 2 at the very least. Because that way then I can't clear the Sun. Which is more so why it matters, just to try and get better damaging water attacks. But by going for Max, they also limit their spread. Because they could have potentially went for spread, you know, should I have gotten full powered. But we'll take that. Solid win. I'll take that. We're on a 4-game win streak. We're actually on a very hot streak. I really wish I could have recorded that last game before this one, because that was such an amazing game. Though this was really good too. We have 2 games I feel confident in uploading. I want to try and get one more at the very least. And I think that one more might actually put us in Great Ball, depending on if we win. So fingers crossed, we might finally hit Great Ball, which would be amazing. I'm not going to lie. I would really love hitting Great Ball. So I will say, I was trying to record some extra games, you know, to end off on another Calyrex game, because I'm trying to make this a Calyrex vid. But I accidentally got up to Great Ball doing so. So we're going to try for one more. I'm going to try. This is the last game I'm doing for the night, just so I don't tilt out of Great Ball. Because this is what I've been aiming for the entire set of episodes so far, and I accidentally got to it today. So, you know, kind of a hollow victory, I guess. I literally was not even... I stopped recording in the last game because it got to the point where I just didn't feel like it was something I was going to use anyway. So I'm a little bit upset with myself because it's now the second game tonight that I not recorded that I probably should have. But it is what it is. It is what it is. To be fair, it was not a Calyrex. It really was not a Calyrex game. These have been borderline Kyogre, and I don't want to do another Kyogre so soon. It's been more Thundurus even than Calyrex. I just want to get a Calyrex game. Like, one more Calyrex game would be great. How is this team this high? Oh my god. Okay. Well, that's fine. Loppity obviously has stuff like Fake Out and Switcheroo, so I need to keep keep at least some attention on that. And then I'm going to lead off with Mimikyu Thundurus. I think that I'm going to bring Kyogre in the back, and I'm going to bring Calyrex in the back as well. I think this ultimately gives me the most options. Mimikyu honestly could trick him really well on this team, which is great because I haven't actually shown off Mimikyu yet. But Thundurus is mostly just here just as a backup lead. I think that truthfully I'm just going to run house with Calyrex this game. They don't really have a lot that actually gets around Calyrex, because even something like Groudon, for example, risks max overgrowth. So I feel pretty safe with this, actually. This could have been pretty scary, I think, if I lit off with anything else. But with the Mimikyu lead, I think I neutralize a lot of potentially bad matchups for this team. So I'm going to hope for the best here, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. They're going to go with Lopunny and Groudon. Okay, that's really good for us, actually, because I'm not too concerned with Lopunny in this matchup. Okay, yeah, so looking at what this could even potentially go for, I'm 100% just going to go for a Trick Room here. And we're going to go for a... I'm going to switch in a Kyogre here. Because by switching hard into Kyogre, I can always go for an Origin Pulse next turn. It's really obnoxiously free, actually. And even if Rillaboom does double in at that point, what I could do, I could potentially just Willow on the Groudon slot, just in case. So I at least have some sort of luxury should Rillaboom double, because that would be the Pokemon that would double, in my opinion, is Groudon, because it's much weaker, and Lopunny feels a bit more expendable. And so they're going to Dynamax here. It's 100% going to be with Groudon. I don't entirely mind that. Groudon going for Max here really doesn't change how I actually play this team. If anything, them going for Max sooner than later helps me a lot, because if something dies at this point, that's free Cali. So I'm actually pretty fine with this. Kyogre is truthfully just expendable, in my opinion, at this point in the game as well. So I have a lot of options, I think. They're going for Fake Out in the Kyogre. Really, I don't mind that at all, actually, because again, Kyogre going down helps me a ton. And if they're going to keep Disguise on Mimikyu, that's also honestly fine with me. So they don't even KO me, which is something else, to be completely honest, but I'm fine with that. I can always just, again, go for the Willow on the Groudon, so I think it's still my best play. And then we get a free Origin Pulse and nothing else. If they are slower than my Kyogre, that's fine. To be fair, we are a fairly fast Kyogre. We're 228 modest. This is mostly just because the fact that Randy ended up, sadly, not having the time to EV the Kyogre properly, being the slower Kyogre, but it's not a big deal. We'll go for a Will-O-Wisp here on that, and then I'm going to go for an Origin Pulse here, and just try and get the damage off that we can. I don't entirely mind Kyogre going down. I think it's ultimately better for us. I just don't want to double it in. So yeah, I guess in this case, having the Kyogre be slower than the Groudon ultimately helps us a lot. Because what I could do, I could burn the Groudon, which is so helpful, because even if it goes for a Rock Fall, I can make sure that it's not doing any actual damage to my Calyrex. So I don't mind this trade, actually. This ultimately worked out for the best, having Kyogre be faster. Avoid the attack, a little bit unfortunate, but it's not a big deal. They're going to switch a Roo. Okay, it's probably going to be some sort of choice item. Okay, they're going to go for Flame Orb. I also don't mind that, but it's for a very different reason, which I'll get into in a bit. But I first want to bring in the Calyrex here, and I need to double check Calyrex really quickly. Oh yeah, that occurs. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to send in Calyrex here. I'm going to Dynamax, and I'm going to go for Shadow Sneak on it. Pop my own weakness policy instead of letting Groudon do so, which to be fair, I probably should have been doing anyway. But with the Flame Orb, I'm doing even less damage, and the best part is that Lopunny can't really do much about it, because Lopunny now would have to give me back my Mental Herb, which means that I do get a turn to actually just take this out anyway. So I'm going to go for a Shadow Sneak on the Calyrex, and I'm going to go for a Max Glacial Lance here on Groudon. Now if Groudon goes for a Max Guard, I don't really mind that, because I do still have the opportunity to take out Lopunny anyway the following turn. So I'm pretty okay with this personally. I should have probably actually not maxed, to be fair, and went for a Raw Lance without going for... Well, actually, no, without going for Dynamax, to be fair, there actually was a good chance I might not have taken out Groudon. So this was still probably my best interest, actually, now that I'm speaking out loud, especially because with doubles, Lance being spread, I would have taken out Lopunny, to be fair, and I would have not risked the Flame Orb, but I could still take out Lopunny the next turn. It's not a big concern of mine. And truthfully as well, I don't even mind. So Groudon didn't even go for the Max Guard. So then yeah, this was 100% gonna matter only for me, because now Groudon should be mauled. And they probably didn't go for that, to be fair, anticipating I wouldn't self-sneak. That's probably what they did. So Calyrex is gonna get off a really phenomenal Hailstorm here, and that should OHKO Groudon guaranteed. Yep, no chance it lives. One Pokemon down. As I said, letting Kyogre go down to Groudon ultimately helped me a lot. To be fair, I'm assuming that would have still went down anyway, but this is still a very free turn for me. So their max is gone. We have 2 more turns of our max. Even if Lopunny does switch Roo here, it is 100% my target next turn. And I'm just going to go for Lopunny no matter what comes in here. And there's nothing I need to even worry about. Thunder Wave, so be it. I don't mind the status, to be completely honest. This means I'm not getting burned, which means my attack's not getting dropped. I don't mind this. This could actually have been a lot worse, in my opinion. So with this in mind, I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go for a Will-O-Wisp on whatever comes in next. Unless it's the Kyogre, which in that case, I might even just go for a Shadow Sneak on Kyogre. I don't know what I'd actually go for in that case. So you're going to Groudon. Yeah, I'm going to go for a Will-O-Wisp here because I can go for Will-O-Wisp, burn this, and then I can go for a max Overgrowth and take out the Groudon because that is now the threat. As long as I don't get full parried here, I should be in a phenomenal position. And even if I do, I assume that I take a single hit. I definitely don't take 2. There's no way in hell I take 2. But I'm assuming with this Dynamax, I could probably take a single hit from Groudon. Aqua Jet. Oh, that went for Aqua Jet. That's amazing for me. That could not have worked out better, actually. Because this gives me an out now. Now, in case if I do, for some reason, get paralyzed, I have a free extra turn here. And even still, we didn't even get paralyzed. So, I'm pretty set now. So, Groudon should be absolutely fodder at this point. Yeah, it's a Sash Groudon. Okay, I don't actually mind this at all. Because I can always just go for a Shadow Sneak. Actually, Groudon's just going to die to Hail. What am I saying? Groudon guaranteed dies to Hail at this point. So, Groudon's actually out of the equation anyway. The Sash shouldn't even matter. Because Hail does go before the terrain, if I remember correctly. And even still with a Will-O-Wisp off on it anyway, it's guaranteed dead at this point, basically, is what I'm trying to say. There's no way that it can live it at all. They're going to go for an Encore, that's fine. I don't mind being Encored in a Will-O-Wisp, truthfully. It's actually really good for me to be Encored in a Will-O-Wisp, because it's a way to get free ship on Lop if nothing else. Or no matter what else comes in, whether it's Rillaboom or really anything, again, I'm pretty set with this. So at this point, it's Lopunny plus either Kyogre, Helios, or Rillaboom, and no matter what, it's actually amazing for Calyrex. Because even if Calyrex gets full parried against any of them, none of them have a way to OHKO me. None of them do. I don't even think Kyogre has a way to OHKO me, unless it's like Specs Scald. Maybe that actually has a chance to KO, but even still, I would be shocked if it KOs. So level 50, yeah. So actually Specs Water Spout, if it's modest, could OHKO. It's a 43% chance, so it's slightly in their favor, but they would need to dual target basically is what I'm trying to say. So there is one more turn to trick him here. Okay. I'm gonna go for a Shadow Sneak. Oh right, we can only go for a Will-O-Wisp. Okay. Easy enough. I'll go for Will-O-Wisp then on the Lopunny, just to, you know, get something off on it. And I'm going to go for an Overgrowth on Kyogre, because even if it protects, I highly doubt between the terrain, as well as the fact that we're +4 now, that would have mattered at all. Yeah, okay, so Kyogre's gone. To put it in perspective, even if it went for a Protect here, this should have guaranteed massacred Kyogre. 107 minimum. So, yeah, Kyogre's gone. It's just Lopunny at this point. So, yeah, really good Calyrex showcase to end off on, and a really good way to celebrate getting Great Ball if nothing else. So, really, really good job. To be fair, this was a bit of a lackluster team, but I think, if anything, it was good enough to showcase how the Calyrex function of this team works. So I'm content with that. And it's also a great way to celebrate, you know, getting into Great Ball. They're going to go for Switcheroo here. It doesn't really matter for me in any way, shape, or form, to be completely honest. I think at this point, I guarantee the win with Calyrex. There's no way in hell that Lopunny has a way to damage me, and it's burned anyway. There's no way it has a good way to damage me. I think I'd outright PP stall Lopunny before it KOs my Calyrex, to put it in perspective. We know it's Switcheroo Fake Out. It's a Switcheroo Encore as well, guaranteed. I'll go for Trick Room just because it helps a little bit in case of full pairs. Because it just gives me more turns attack quicker. Albeit, it's probably not going to matter a ton. Yeah, they just forfeit anyway. Okay, beautiful. So it was a great game to end off on. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like below and subscribe for more. The next video we're going to be doing for Road to Ranked will be up on Thursday, and that will feature a Veltal Taaga. So hopefully you guys look forward to that one. With that said, shoutouts to our channel members, of course, being Zeke0, Randy Chapa, Josh, aka Ultra Player, Mia, Rika Hoshizora, and Pokemon fan Majestic Xerneas. You guys are great, and I really appreciate your support on the channel. Shoutouts to Randy as well for the not only the membership, obviously, but also for the team. It's an amazing team, and Randy's hosting a rental all month. So with that said, I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace out, guys.